my most commonly asked questions is, how do you homeschool with several children that are obviously not all the same age? Thinking about all of our mom responsibilities, keeping a house, making healthy meals, taking care of the children, and adding on the educational responsibility of several children at several different grade levels seems pretty overwhelming. So I am here to give you a couple tips of what I have done to make this work. Hello and welcome to my familia homeschool. My name is Marissa and I live in Miami with my husband and 3 children. We are a bilingual family that has chosen homeschool as the way that we will educate our children. On this channel, I love talking about resources, curriculum, ideas, tips, and how we have encouraged a bilingual environment in our bilingual homeschool. If any of those things could be a support to you and to your homeschool, give us a thumbs up and subscribe so you can join us in the future. So let's get into it. How do you homeschool several children that are all different ages, different grades, different developmental levels? How do we make it work? So my first tip is have a daily routine or a daily flow. Now, you heard me right. It's not a schedule. I do not map out time by time. We start at this time, we do this at this time, we do this at this time. That just doesn't work for our family, especially with a baby. Things change. She's hungry, she needs a nap, and our routine changes. Babies have to go to the pediatrician an awful lot. So on those days, our schedule would be totally messed up. But a routine or a flow is not, because we just know we do this and then this and then this and then this. And so we just adjust it to the time that we have that day. Sometimes our time slots are a little bit longer, a little bit shorter, but we adjust according to the day. We know that we homeschool right alongside our life. And so when things change in our life, things change within our homeschool. And a daily routine or a flow is able to ebb and flow with those life changes. So part of our daily routine is I start out the day having independent activities out for Abby. And that's my second piece of advice. Find things that your kids can do independently. The great thing about homeschool is the dynamic can be very different than a teacher standing in front of a classroom of students and telling them what they need to learn. We are more of facilitators or guides in our child's education. We are teaching them how to learn. And so as they grow, they will be able to take on more of the responsibility of their education. So in our case, in the mornings, I set out independent activities for Abby to do. Then I get ready, I have breakfast, she has breakfast, we sit down together. We do a couple things that her and I do one-on-one, and then I have her do some more independent activities. Then I move my attention over to my middle child, who is 4, and I work one-on-one with her. Sometimes there are even some things that she's able to do independently, like tracing letters. And so I will leave her doing that and switch my attention back over to Abby. And that's how I kind of straddle in between the two of them. Now, my next piece of advice is do things together as much as possible. Use multi-age curriculum. Now, in our case, we love a literature approach. And literature approaches are great to use with everyone because everyone can enjoy books at their own level. We do stuff like this with history, science, art, music, and Bible. So the majority of our homeschool day is spent doing it together. This means that I don't have to follow an individual grade-based curriculum for each one of my children. It saves me a ton of time. It's also beautiful because we're all learning the same thing together. We are all discovering and exploring similar topics. We are able to create experiences and have conversations about the things that we are learning. We are able to go out and do field trips together because it makes sense. We're all learning the same thing. One quick tip that has worked really well, especially when my kids are younger, is having school time toys. So I would have a basket of toys that was specific to school time. And I would use these with my toddlers. So when Ellie, my 4-year-old, was maybe 2 years old and I was working more one-on-one with Abby, I would have these manipulatives or toys that she could use during those times only. That kept them special and something that would grab her attention for a longer span. These were things like Legos, things like connecting blocks, things like lacing cards, things like puzzles, things that were great for her development, but also keeping them only for those times made them more exciting. And my last piece of advice I would say is the most important. Do not be afraid to change things. Like I said in the beginning, life changes, and so our homeschool changes as well. You don't have to wait until a new school year to change things. If something's not working within your routine, within a curriculum, change it up. Try something new. See if if it works better. If it doesn't, try something else. We are always changing and growing and evolving. Your homeschool should be exactly what works for your family dynamic, your family schedule. It doesn't have to look like someone else's, and much less look like a school classroom. So that's my advice on how we have made homeschooling several different children of different ages work. Now, obviously, we are still changing and growing and learning, and so what works today may not work in the next year. But this is just what has worked up until this time. I want to know what has worked for your family. What tips, tricks, advice do you have? Leave them in the comments so that you can help other families that are trying to figure this out alongside of us. If you enjoyed this video, if it was a support helpful for you, for your family, give us a thumbs up and subscribe so you can join us next time with My Familia Homeschool.